Okay, fluidic striking is a lot easier than people make it out to be. Um, you just strike like from your fluid, and so the absolute hardest you could ever hit anybody fluidically is about as hard as you could like throw a bucket of water at them, right? So the bucket of water is your body, and if you're going to hit somebody fluidically, which if you hit somebody fluidically, that's going to entail you're also going to contact them mechanically, and you're going to contact them psychically, right? Because your mind is in the fluid. But when you're hitting fluidically, you're really not worried about the mechanics. So any of the stuff with your heel up or you're down, anything sort of rotating, elbows, joints, anything in any sort of position, that's all gone. There is a science to that. I suggest learning it. But fluidic striking is just the water. So it's ultimately very simple, and it's exactly like throwing a bucket of water at somebody. So you could practice that, get a bucket of water, and just see like what's the hardest I can get this to like impact the wall or impact another person. Right? You could throw it in such a way that the force kind of spreads out, and you'll notice you can throw it to where the water hits pretty hard. Right? But it just only hits about as hard as water, so you can only hit that hard. And there's no reason fluidically to try and hit harder than that, but what you are trying to do is to hit with the entire water column. So nothing's going to be dead any more than if you were a bucket of water sloshing. None of the water anywhere in the bucket isn't going to be sloshing. And so anytime somebody moves, they're moving that sloshing around, and people usually feel that as their like inertia or their weight. So when you're moving fluidically, you're actually moving with your weight. So a lot of times people get ahead of their weight, and so then they go out ahead, and then they pull the water, they pull their mass behind to go where you want to go. And this results in the experience of weight. If you move with your water, you're moving with your weight. And your weight is a single thing, it's not a series of linkages. So if you move with your weight, your feet are going to more naturally be dynamic. One thing will kind of flow and splash into another thing, very obviously. And then so there's that basic science of it. Then within that water, within that weight, is your metabolism and is your mind. And from there, you find your will, and then you can start to add strength to the water. Where you're trying from your weight, not trying to move your weight. And that happens to most people once their blood pressure spikes even a little bit. So once you get warmed up. Once you get warmed up, a lot of these pieces that you have to put together when you're in a lower state, when you get warmed up, they naturally come together. And so people describe that as the difference between like experience and ability and intellectual understanding. Intellectual understanding is like, oh, you know all these systems have to coordinate and gear together, but so what? When you get warmed up and the system gets pressurized enough that everything starts talking and communicating, it just sort of happens. But like if you know exactly what you're trying to prime and why and how to pressurize the warm-up, you can get to that state or find it at a lower pressure. can find it's already there at a lower intensity. And so if I throw all the water from my heels up, it hits pretty hard.